All right, welcome again, everyone. Thank you for being here, for taking time out of your schedule to be here for this conversation tonight. We are talking about a topic that is near and dear to my heart, and that is getting out of debt. And even more importantly, having the ability to live the life that you dream about. So throughout the course of the evening, I will ask a number of questions through this journey because I'm a coach, and that's what coaches do. We ask a lot of questions. And so right off the bat, as you are checking in, please continue to do that as you're joining in the chat. Just say hello, let us know where you're from. James is in Italy. I think you probably will win the award for being the furthest away. And to begin this discussion, I am really, let me just get my technology working properly. Hang on here. This is often the challenge, is that technology is not always our friend, but we're going to make it work. I want to start by asking you simply to tell me what it is that interests you about the topic and why you decided to join this discussion. Is it, you just want to know, you're struggling with debt, maybe that's the case. Maybe you want to know how to balance paying off debt and achieving your dreams, which is the whole goal of this conversation. Or maybe it's something else, but let me know. What are you thinking? I'll give it just a few minutes for people to answer. You can answer anonymously. What are you thinking? Why did you choose to join this conversation this evening? Let me know. Don't everybody answer at once. And if you are not speaking, because we're recording, I'm going to ask you to put your phone on mute, please, so that we have a nice, clean recording. Hello, Corey. Thank you for joining this evening. Okay, well, we are going to move forward. I don't see any answers to the poll question. Can you see the poll question? Maybe I should ask that.
Yes, Lisa, and I responded.
Okay, so that's interesting. So something is not quite working, but we are not going to let that hinder us. We're going to move forward. Hopefully technology will get itself together, because I am not seeing any responses. That is really bizarre. Not sure why that's happening, but put it in the chat for me. Since the poll isn't working the way it should, just let me know in the chat what it is. I know you can see the poll. Hi, Tanae, glad that you're here. You can see the poll, but for whatever reason, it's not capturing, or the responses are not showing them to me anyway. And so we'll, hopefully that will correct itself somehow, because if it doesn't, we're gonna have a little challenge. I see better money management as a goal, balancing debt and pursuing dreams. These are all great reasons to be here. And I think you will hear from me then what you want to in the course of this conversation. Okay, Felicia says she can see the results. So it's really interesting that you can, but I can't. All right, so we're going to move right along. Here's what you can expect. This is the important thing. I'm all about managing expectations. So through the course of our conversation tonight, I'm going to share with you a bit of my story and my journey as it relates to this topic of being in debt and managing finances. I think we'll discover how I was drowning in debt and actually how I overcame that to really get to the place of having financial freedom. And as part of the discussion, I think as we go along, you'll also understand why this topic is so important and why it's near and dear to my heart. There are a number of beliefs that people have around money. Some of them are myths, and I want to expose some of those, and even more importantly, share with you the reality and the truth behind those so that you can achieve your goal of debt freedom and of balancing that repaying of debt with the ability to have the life that you dream of. And if you stay to the end, I have an offer that I want to share with you as well that will help you to accelerate your process of getting to financial freedom. And I will leave time at the end also to address any questions that you might have. So before we get going, I want you to take a moment and just imagine the life that you dream of. Think about what it is you really want for your life. What are the biggest goals and dreams that you have for yourself? Just begin to allow yourself to think about that. Imagine that you have a happy, healthy family, if that's something that you desire, that you are on top of the world. You really feel like you have it all. And in fact, because you have it all and you're financially free, life for you is maybe a vacation, it's a beach, and that it's so good that your heart just overflows with joy and gratitude. Can you picture that? Can you picture the things that you dreamed of, that you imagined, that you want for yourself, and imagining that you have it all? Now, if you have that in mind, I want to ask you this question. Does your present reality match the big goals and dreams that you envision for yourself? Or is there a disconnect? Let me know in the chat. Just say it, match or disconnect. Which is it? Does your life that you envision, do the hopes that you have for yourself and what you want to do with that, is it matching or is there a disconnect? I see quite a number of disconnects coming through, and that's okay, because if you're feeling like there's a disconnect between what you envision for your life and what you're actually receiving, then you are in the right place. Because that likely means that you have big goals and dreams, that you know you're capable of more. You have a vision for what life could be if you were free, and that's your desire, but you're probably feeling stuck. That is likely because of being debt burdened. And if you're like most people who are debt burdened but have big goals for themselves, you probably have tried to solve this problem. Maybe you've read books, you've listened to podcasts, you've heard what the experts have to say on the topic, and it probably left you confused. If you're like I was, you might also feel a little bit ashamed and embarrassed because you're highly educated, intelligent, goal-oriented, and yet this continues to be a challenge for you in your life. But you're ready for change and ready to live your best life. If that describes you, then you are in fact in the right place this evening, and I'm glad you're here. Now, if for some reason that does not describe you, then you could maybe decide to end the call right now. But I hope that even if it doesn't describe you well or completely, that you'll stay anyway, because maybe you'll hear something that will help you or that can help someone else in your life whom this does describe. And you are in the right place. In fact, I resonate with that because that was my story. That's where I was. I am Lisa L. Baker. I'm the founder of Ascentum, which is an award-winning coaching practice, and I'm very proud of the results that I've achieved so far. My coaching practice is on Inc.'s 2022 Best in Business list for coaching and career development. I've been quoted in Ebony and seen in Inc. and Headline News and other places, and that's all wonderful, but that's not always the way it was. I seemed successful by most standards. By the world's standard of success, I was successful. I worked in Fortune 500 companies. I was in executive leadership roles, had a six-figure salary with all the bells and whistles that come with being that level of leader in corporate America, the bonus, the stock options, and all of that. And that was wonderful. I built my dream home. It was a 6-bedroom, 6.5 bathroom home in Roswell, Georgia, home theater, all the bells and whistles. That was great. I traveled to Paris and Dubai and other places, just living the life that I dreamed. I was celebrated, and my team that I was leading won many awards at Synchrony, Portfolio of the Year, all of those wonderful things. And in fact, I was able to go to the New York Stock Exchange and take my client with me because of the success that I achieved. And when you look at the picture, it seems great. And I say seems great because a picture doesn't always tell the full story. And what was behind all of that was that I was 1.3 million in debt. That's million with an M, 1.3 million. I had the mortgage on that dream home. I had 3 rental properties and they all had mortgages on them. I had credit card debt, 2 car loans, parent student loans for my son, a 401k loan. In fact, I don't think there was a debt that was possible that I didn't either have at that time or at one time in my life. $1.3 million in debt, and I was ashamed. I was disappointed in myself. I was fearful that I wouldn't be able to provide for my children in the way that I envisioned. My life, my dream life, and the life that I was living was very far disconnected, but no one would know that by looking at the outside. That debt led me to 2 places I never wanted to be: bankruptcy court and divorce court. Because behind all of that success by the world's standard, there were storms brewing everywhere. And so, as the saying goes, if you want something you've never had, you have to do something that you have never done. And I was determined to get myself out of that situation. And so I tried a number of things to get it right. I decided that I was going to use the knowledge that I had from having been in financial services for 20 plus years, do further study, learn and apply what I learned to my life. And so I did a number of things. I read books, including the Bible, because I am a Christian and my faith is so important to me. And what I realized in reading the Bible is that there are about 2,000 scriptures in the Bible that talk about money, possessions, and wealth. In fact, the Bible says that it's God who gives us the ability to get wealth. I read other books from all the experts, Robert Kiyosaki. I listened to so many people who are expert in the area of finances. And including Dave Ramsey, and I enrolled in his Financial Peace University, which is a 12-week program that's all about helping you to get out of debt and take control of your finances. I met with a financial advisor. I got an accountability partner, someone to come alongside me and help me to stay on course for what my new goal was. My new goal was to not just look successful or look wealthy, but to actually be successful and be wealthy, not by the world's standards, but by my own standards. And I was able to do that. Now, it took a long time. I will not lie to you. I'm an open book. And when you get to ask questions later, you can ask me anything you want. But I was able to retire at just 54 years old. If you're not speaking, would you please mute your phone? Thank you. So I retired at 54 years old. And I am proud to say that when I retired, I was debt-free with one exception, and that is the mortgage that's on the home that I currently live in. That was my story. And the dream that I had, part of it was having to be married again, to have love in my life, and I accomplished that as well. And a couple years ago, I got married in Annapolis at the city dock in a private ceremony. So you can both get out of debt and have your dreams. They do not have to be mutually exclusive, and I am a living testimony to that. So now I am on a mission. It is my goal to make sure that no one else has to experience the trauma, the trials, and the difficulties in their personal finances that I experienced in mine, if I can help it. So last year, I set a goal to help women in particular to get out of debt. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. But truly, it is my desire to help you and anyone else who has this similar goal to have the influence that they desire. And that is to be able to influence the world around you for good. So those causes and those things that are important to you, to be able to cause change to happen, to have an impact on the world as well, to do work that's meaningful for you, that is purposeful, so that you feel like you are actually making a difference in a way that feels good and right for you based on your standard of success. and to have the income, the money, the wealth to support the vision that you have for your life so that you can live the way you want to live now and leave a legacy for the future so that you can both get out of debt and have the life that you dream of. Does that sound good? Just raise your hand like to say, yes, I'm sign me up for that. I'm all for having more impact, more influence, and more income. If that's you, then again, you're in the right place because it's all possible. It truly is. And it doesn't have to be as hard for you, and it doesn't have to take you as long as it took me. So part of the problem is debt. Now, in the United States, the average person has about $90,000 in debt. The average household debt is even higher than that, but the average person, individual, has around $90,000 in debt. That's part of the problem. But the real problem, quite frankly, is these common myths around money that many of us have bought into. And the challenge with believing things that are not true or real and taking in these myths is that when you believe these myths, it's part of what keeps us broke. It will keep you in debt, stressed out, unable to really have the life that you desire because of the debt and the beliefs that you have around it. It's these money myths that actually, in fact, limit the options that we have for ourselves, that hold us hostage even. And I say hold us hostage because sometimes it's the debt and the lack of money that keeps us in relationships that aren't good for us, that we don't want to be in, that keeps us in jobs that really suck the life out of us because we need the money and cannot afford to make different choices. And that is ultimately what prevents us from achieving our dreams and our goals. That's the reason why this topic is so important and why it's essential that we find the path forward, because we don't want to be held hostage to anything or anyone. That is not a good place to be. And that stress and overwhelm that comes from money worry really has effects not just on our finances, but on our physical well-being, on our emotional well-being. It's not a great place to be. But the good news is that knowing the truth can make you free. But it's not just the knowing of it, it's actually doing something with it that really will help you. And so I want to talk to you about now these kind of 3 common money myths, share the secret behind it and the truth that goes with it so that you don't have to fall victim to them. So here we go. The first myth that I want to talk to you about, this one we're going to call stop spending. Now, you probably have heard this. It goes something like this: cut out everything that is not essential. Don't spend money on anything other than getting out of debt, because if you have a debt problem, that's where you need to direct your money. Does that sound familiar to anyone? Have you heard this from the experts that tell you that you really need to eliminate anything that's not servicing your debt, including, down to your lattes, your mochas in the morning? Like, you can't afford to have that, right? They paint for us this picture that is a fork in the road, a dichotomy. On one side of that, it says, put all your energy into paying off your debt. That's a dark, gloomy road. And if you've tried it, and I did, it's not sustainable because it's just not realistic that everything is focused toward that. On the other side of it, it's like, well, live your dreams. Do you, people will say, right? Go do you, and take the other path. And it's portrayed as either or. Either you can take this dark path where you direct all your money to your debt, or you can just wild out. Hey, you only live once, right? So since you only live once, go and do you, live the life that you dream about. But that's not realistic either. So here's the secret. It's not your mocha that's keeping you in debt. It's likely your mindset is the culprit. Because here's the truth. When you change your beliefs, your behaviors will naturally change. So rather than trying to put control around it and saying just focus only on your debt, the more realistic approach is to think about your money mindset and change your beliefs, because when you change your beliefs, your behavior will change. Now let's test this out. Think about this for a moment, because many of our money beliefs actually started very young, likely in childhood. What did you believe about money when you were growing up? Fill in the blank for me. Growing up, I was told or I was taught that money, fill in the blank, so I believed what? So Doe said, there isn't any. That's what she was told growing up. There isn't any money. So if there isn't any money, and similar to me, what my dad told me is, Lisa, money does not grow on trees. And actually, he didn't say it that way. He said, money don't grow on trees, baby. That's what my dad told me. And so since he told me that money doesn't grow on trees, what I believe is that money is hard to get, because if it grew on trees, you just go outside and pick yourself some money, right? What he was saying is money is hard to come by. I see some people said money was tight. Everything is a struggle. Maxine, yes, money doesn't grow on trees. So now, if you believe that money is something you have to struggle for, if you believe that it doesn't grow on trees and it's hard to get, then how does that affect the way you behave as it relates to your spending and your money? In my case, as I was told money doesn't grow on trees and it was hard to get, well, when I got it, I figured I better do what I want to with it now, because I don't know when I'm going to get it again. But that conflicted with what my mother told me, which was, baby, you have to save something for a rainy day. You cannot spend every dime you get. And so it's really our mindset and our beliefs around money that have to shift. So if you want to unlock the secret and the truth around this for yourself, try asking yourself this question. What story am I telling myself about money that's keeping me in debt? Said another way, what new positive belief, what empowering belief do I want to replace my old belief with? Because that's the real truth behind this thing. Is not just constrict all your savings. And sure, absolutely, you will have to think about what you're spending, but it's more important why you're spending and to get clear about that. Here's myth number 2. We're going to label this try harder. Try harder is about working longer hours, working harder, being super focused, having intensity, and going after your debt, right? This is, you wouldn't be in so much debt if you really tried harder. Like, does that sound familiar? Anybody heard something that sounds like you need to try harder? Basically, you need to just do better. When I was in debt, it wasn't that I wasn't trying. Trust me, that is not where I wanted to be. But again, people will make us feel or believe that we're not trying hard enough. But honestly, how much harder can you work? I mean, really, I could not have been working any longer hours, doing any more. Somebody may tell you, yeah, you need to go get a side hustle, make some extra money, right? But the reality is, for most of us, we're not lazy. It's not that we aren't trying. We are trying. We want to get out of debt, but it's not just in the trying. It's not the intensity of it. The secret is being intentional with your money, because the truth is that money is simply a tool, and you have the ability to direct your money where you want it to go. You can actually tell it what to do. In fact, what I say often is, if you tell your money where to go, then you don't have to wonder where it went. And the challenge for many of us is that we aren't telling our money what to do. We just kind of let it happen. Now test this out for yourself. When you get money that comes into your hands, let's say I was just being generous and I said, everyone who's on the call today, I'm going to give you $1,000 just for being here. What's the first thing that comes to your mind about what you would do with the money? Drop it in the chat. What would you do? Somebody just gave you $1,000. What would you do? Someone said, I would save it, pay a bill, shop, right? Real answers, and thank you for your candidness. The key, and there's nothing wrong with paying a bill. There's nothing wrong with saving the money, investing it in your business, shopping, tithing, and then saving. All of those are valid uses of the money. The question is that the best use for the money based on what your goals are and your dreams that you're trying to achieve? So you can choose to have your money go in more than one direction. You can put your money, both some of it toward debt and some of it toward saving for, planning for this thing that you're dreaming about. It doesn't have to be either or. You have the power to tell your money what to do. And many of us, unfortunately, are kind of just winging it when it comes to finances. In fact, there was a CNBC article that said just that. It said that 70% of people are frankly winging it when it comes to their money. They don't have a real plan. They aren't directing it and taking control and telling their money what to do. So here's a question that you can ask yourself. How can I be more intentional about directing my money where it needs to go? And that brings us to our third myth, and that's the earn more myth, right? This basically says that if I had a bigger salary, or maybe if I got a side hustle, a second job, then I could get out of debt. Does that sound familiar? Anybody believe that? Like, if I could just make more money, that would solve my problem. That's a common belief. And yeah, there may be some truth to that in some cases. There are people who obviously are clearly not earning enough. They're living below the poverty line. But for most of us, and I dare say for most people on this call, that probably isn't your primary issue. But you might feel that way. You tell yourself, like, if I could just win the lottery, that would resolve my issues. Well, think again, my friends, because most people who win the lottery are in fact bankrupt within 1 to 3 years after they win the lottery. So winning the lottery may not solve the problem. Having more money in and of itself isn't going to resolve the issue, because the truth is you need to keep more. The reality of it is it's not how much you make, but how much you keep that matters. And that's why lottery winners, we've heard people who are athletes and actors, people who make millions, even billions of dollars, who go broke and have to file bankruptcy. It wasn't that they weren't making enough, it's that they didn't keep enough of what they made. And that's the real key. You have to keep more. So ask yourself this question: where can I make adjustments so that I can keep more of my income? Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't try to earn more, because you should, and I'm all for helping you do that. But if you're making more money and you haven't changed your mindset, or if you're making more money and you don't direct the money where to go, just more money in and of itself will not resolve the issue. So we're going to see if I can get this poll to work. Give me a thumbs up. Do you see a poll that's asking you about this is a poll that is not what I want you to see. I don't know. I'm going to call this user error, because I'm going to say this cannot be the system. It's me. You should see 3 secrets. Which of these 3 resonates with you? You see that? Yes, maybe. Or not. Not sure what's going on in the Okay. Jackie says secret number 3. Tanae is telling me no. No, I think that means, Tanae, that you aren't seeing it. Is that what you're telling me no to? I don't see it. Okay, this is really interesting. Well, so here's a lesson. I trust me, I practiced this beforehand because, I wanted to be, so, snazzy and do these polls, but it didn't work. Which of the 3, you can just tell me in chat, we're going to ignore polls. Which of these 3 myths and or secrets resonates with you? Is it the earning more? Is it the idea of money mindset that maybe most resonates with you? Or maybe it's this hustle hard thing that people tell you just need to try harder. And in that money mindset, Shatoya says, thank you, Shatoya. Yeah, for a lot of us, the money mindset is really the key. Dealing with our beliefs and behaviors around money is critical. Joe said it's this hustle, the idea about really trying hard and getting and making more money. All right, so at this point, you might be thinking to yourself, what the heck is up with these polls? Or the other thing you could possibly thinking is, all right, I hear you, Lisa. You're telling me that there are these money myths, and I can kind of see how this affects my ability to have both a pathway to getting out of debt as well as having my dreams. But does this stuff really work? And I'm going to tell you that the answer is absolutely yes. So here are some verbatims from my clients who recently I've been helping with their finances. One of them says, I just want you to know that I don't feel worry about not having enough anymore. This month I paid off 4 debts and I'm back to giving at 10%. So that's doing both, paying off debts and working towards something that's important to them or dream or value. Someone said, when I started being more strategic, I found that I didn't overspend. I was able to add more to my savings. Or I'm happy to report that I'm totally debt free and I was able to save. I've saved over $4,000 while getting out of debt. Like, that is a big deal. Someone else said that I'm paying off my credit card debt quicker than I planned because I'm assigning dollars and I saw my credit score go up 35 points. And that assigning dollars is this idea of directing your money and telling it where to go and being intentional versus just hustling and thinking that you can try harder. So all of that is possible and available to you when you put those truths to work for you and apply them to your own personal finances. Because here is the real truth about all of this, that there are really just 3 simple steps if you want to get out of debt without sacrificing your dreams. The first is to work on your money mindset, because having a positive set of beliefs about money and examining the stories that you tell yourself about money, again, many of which you've carried with you for a long time, either through childhood and your personal experiences, even in your adult life. It shapes the way you think about money, that shapes the way you behave when it comes to money, and that ultimately affects the results that you get from your money. The second is to exercise intentionality, to really start literally telling your money where to go. This is what this dollar is assigned to. You can prioritize the things that matter to you. Put your money toward what you value most. So if there are dreams that you have, things that you want to accomplish, direct some money to that. And you can do both that and put some money toward paying off your debt. Now, I feel the need to pause and just put a point in here that says, for some people and in some instances, you will find yourself in a situation where you just don't have enough money. Despite what I said about the earning more, there are times when the level of debt that you have relative to your income will make it feel impossible to do both. If you happen to find yourself in that situation, then here's a rule of thumb for you. Number 1, always pay yourself first. whether you earn $1 or $1,000,000, when you receive money, take something off the top for yourself first. I don't care how much you owe to whomever, always give yourself something first. After you take something off the top for yourself, then you're going to protect what I describe as, and I didn't call it this, I didn't create this, it's a Dave Ramsey principle, but it's protecting the 4 walls. Wall number 4 is literally your home. You need a place to live, so pay your mortgage or pay your rent. The second of the walls is food, because you need to eat to live. The third thing that you're going to protect in these 4 walls is your transportation. Now, that's not something that people would often think of as maybe being a priority, but the reason why that's in there is because presumably you need to have the transportation so that you can get to work, so that you can earn money. So that's why that's in there. And then the fourth one is your utilities are having some comfort in you, because while you're in your home, you want to keep the lights on so that you have some comfort. But those are the priorities: the home that you live in, the utilities in your home, the food that you need to eat, and the transportation that you need to get to work. Pay yourself, pay those 4 things. Now, once you do that, if there's no money left, that means somebody just simply does not get paid. That's just for people who are in the situation where you literally do not have enough to cover all of your expenses. For most people, that's not the case. So that's the way you would direct your money if you find yourself in that situation. Okay, so the third thing is to hold on to more of the money that you earn. And the way you're going to do that is, like I said, first by just taking something off the top for yourself, because many people don't do that. They immediately start paying bills and other expenses, and there's nothing left for themselves. But if you reverse that, then that alone will allow you to keep more money for yourself. And that's the simple truth of these myths, and how you can shift your thinking and belief and behaviors around it so that you can do both: get out of debt and achieve your dreams and goals. Because the real truth is, you can build wealth, live an inspiring life, be able to influence change around you, and fulfill your goals, your purpose, your dreams, and create a lasting legacy for yourself. That is all possible for you if you apply those principles. Now, I said that they're simple. Do not confuse that for easy, because it's not easy. It takes work, it takes commitment, it takes dedication, but the process is simple. And that's where I come in. If you want to get out of debt without sacrificing your dreams, I have taken all of what I have learned and put it into my G.R.O.W Finances course. I used to teach this course live. Now I have made it an on-demand course, and it is a 4-part course. Part 1 is all about getting out of debt. Teach you the principles of directing your money so that you can get out of debt as fast as possible, so that you know your numbers, know where your money needs to go. Many people don't even have a real clear picture of their current financial state, and part 1 of the course will help you to do that. Part 2 is all about how you retain more of your income, because as I said, it's not how much you make, but how much you keep that matters. So you'll learn those kind of money saving tips and ways of managing your money and having a plan for it that allows you to hold on to more of the money that you're earning in the first place. Part 3 is organizing and protecting your assets, because as you start to get out of debt and have a plan for how you keep more of your money, you are naturally going to build assets. You will find that you have more money than you thought you had. And so you want to have a plan to get really organized around your finances and to be able to put protections in place so that you can keep the wealth and the assets that you're building for the long term. And then in part 4, we bring it all together and teach you what it means to really walk in wealth. And I'll teach you the 7 steps to walking in wealth. Now, Remember that I said your mindset is key. You can get out of debt, retain more of your income, organize and protect your assets, and walk in wealth. But the first thing you need to do is work on your mindset. And so before you get into those parts of the course, there is a mindset pre-work that allows you to shift your money beliefs so that your behaviors will shift and you are prepared and in the best possible mental state to then go through the 4 parts of the course that will help you to grow. Now, a lot of times with on-demand courses, one of the reasons why they don't work and people don't follow through is because it lacks support. And so I've taken care of that for you by having a course workbook that gives you step-by-step instructions for every part of the course, from the pre-work through the very end, so you know exactly what to do and you can do it at your own pace. The other thing is community is so important. And so I have a private G.R.O.W Finances Facebook group where the people who are on the same journey with you are there. You can connect and have accountability and support. I call this group my growth squad. We're all, myself included, still on this journey to financial freedom. And then I've also added now live Q&A calls so that you can get on a Zoom like this. And as you have questions, as you're going through the process, you register, get on the Zoom, and I'll be there to answer your questions for you live and in real time so that you are supported throughout the process. So even though it's on demand and you can go at your own pace, I am there and available to you. The other members of the G.R.O.W Squad are there and available as well, so that you have support as you're on this journey. Now, last year, I mentioned that I set a goal to help women. I set the goal last year to help 100 women, and in particular, women of color. And I did that because, first of all, women have 2 times less wealth than men. And people of color, particularly Black Americans, our net worth is 10 times less than that of a Caucasian household. And so I wanted to test this process out and see what we could do with a group of women. And here's just some of what they had to say from the women in particular that went through. And I love what Marlena said. She said, one little 4-week course changed my whole life, because those 4 parts of the course, I had them going through it live in over a 4-week time period. And they did the pre-work on their own before they came to the course. Allison said that it was the ideal mix of financial literacy, practical tips, and the resources that she needed to build wealth over time. So I'm proud of their results. But here's the reality. Wealth building, getting out of debt, achieving your dreams is not just, it's not a gender thing. It's not a race thing. It's a people thing. And so that's why I put the course in an on-demand format so that anybody who wants to take it from anywhere in the world can do that and have the support that they need to go through it. Because as I said, I'm on a mission to help people have the impact, the influence, and the income that they desire so that they can live the life of their dreams. So quick recap: changing your money mindset and beliefs, getting out and staying out of debt, having a plan to keep more of your money, taking steps so that you can secure your financial future, and having the support throughout the process so that your success can be guaranteed. That is the offer. And so the question really becomes, what would it be worth? What would it be worth to you to feel stress-free and at peace about your money, to not have to live paycheck to paycheck, but have a plan to get out of debt quickly, be able to live your dreams, and at the same time secure your financial future? Now, that's a question that only you can answer for yourself. G.R.O.W Finances is typically $595, but because you were so gracious to be on this call with me this evening, I am taking $200 off of that. So if you register for G.R.O.W Finances by May 31st and make a one-time payment, then you can save $200, and for you, it would only be $395. If that doesn't work and you need to pay over time, then you can make 2 payments, but then it's $297.50, which means you're back to the $595. Now, why is that, Lisa? I'm so glad you asked, because here's a lesson in Money One-on-One. Anytime you pay things over time, it just makes them more expensive. That's the bottom line. So ask yourself this question: if I don't accept this offer, what will I do to take control of my finances? And again, that's a question that you have to answer for yourself. That is up to you. But whatever you do, whatever you decide, know that I'm still here to support you. And as Alexander Graham Bell said, really, the only difference between success and failure is our ability to take action. So make a decision that's right for you, and then take action. And if you're ready to grow, then you can visit grow.ascentum.com and sign up immediately. Whenever you're ready, the course will be ready and available for you. So I want to thank you for spending time with me today. And I am going to stop sharing, and I will take time to answer any questions that you might have for me.
What was that website again?
It is grow.ascentum.com, and I will drop it in the chat.
Hi,
And you
this is
said
April.
until May
Hang on.
31st?
May 31st. The discount is available until May 31st.
Thank you.
You're
Hey,
welcome.
Lisa. This is Tanae. I just wanted to get a little refresher. But when we first met, it was a story you shared with me. I don't know if you shared with your other clients when you had to go shopping for your son just to get some clothes and he lost the coupon. Could you? That story really resonated with me. I don't know if you want to share it again.
Yes, so I will share that story if you will share with the people on the line your experience with Grow Finances. Is that a fair exchange?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So here's what Tanae is talking about. So it was, December, because it was right around Christmas time. My youngest son was graduating from high school, and he graduated early in December instead of in the following May or June. And he needed a pair of black pants, a white shirt, a black tie, something. They had to wear something specific for graduation. So we went shopping to Kohl's to get those things. Now, what he didn't know is I only had about $150, I think it was, in my checking account at that time, even though I was working for Microsoft and making, I think at that time, around $150,000 a year, to be honest. But I only had $150 in the bank. So as we're going into Kohl's, this woman was coming out and she was so nice. And she said, "Oh, do you need a coupon?" And I said, "Yes." And she had a store coupon that was worth, I think, 25% off of a purchase. And I was so happy because I was like, "Thank you, Jesus. You have answered my prayer." So I gave the coupon to Justin. I'm like, "Hey, hold on to this because we're going to need it." So we're going through the store and looking for the cheapest black pair of pants and the cheapest tie I can find. And this boy lost the coupon somewhere in the store. And when he lost it, I lost it. And I'm almost about to cry now thinking about it because I literally had a meltdown in the middle of the men's department of Kohl's. I'm like, "Go find that coupon. I need that. You gotta go look at the store and find it." So that was my state. So when I tell you that I'm passionate about this and I don't want anybody else to have that experience, it makes no sense. I was making great money, but because of all that was going on and all the debt that I had and other people that I was helping and supporting because I wasn't directing my money in the right way, I had a meltdown because my son lost a coupon. And it was close to Christmas and he needed this stuff and I didn't have a whole lot of money to get. And shortly after that, we went and spent the Christmas holiday with the good friends of my family, and they were having an amazing Christmas. The dad bought his wife a big Mercedes SUV with the big red bow on it, had it in the neighbor's garage and surprised my friend Michelle with it. And their son was a drummer and he got a beautiful new drum set. And my Justin said to me, "I want to be a patcher." In essence, it's like, I want to be in their family because ours sucks. And I can laugh about it now, but I can laugh and cry at the same time because it still touches my heart. So that's the story that Tanae is talking about that I shared. And it is the 100% truth. And yeah. Okay, so Tanae, it's your turn. Go.
Thank you, Lisa. All right. So I took the 4-week course back last September. And like I said, it definitely gave me direction. So the concept of pay yourself first, I wasn't paying myself first. And then she does do the every dollar budget, but she walked us through it. And that really helped me because I already had the app and I just wasn't using it. But when you pay yourself first and when you do the zero-based budget, it's like, wait, I have money left over. Like, so you kind of do get a sense of direction of where your money should go. I was on my way to pay off some debt. I have paid off more debt. My credit score in January was a 586. It's now a 691. And definitely she told us to get an accountability partner, and I have an accountability partner from the course. And we meet every month and we do text check-ins. And the concept of paying myself first, I do two things. One, I'm still working on the 10%, but I do put money in my emergency savings. That comes first. I do pay an offering to my church. And then I have this concept that called She Money. So in my budget, I have money that I am going to buy my Starbucks. I'm going to get my hair done. And this month I got my pedicure and I'm getting a manicure for Mother's Day. I cash flowed a lot of expenses. My son's prom, no debt. My son's birthday, no debt. So when you work the plan, you have the cash. You don't have to put it on a credit card. Christmas, no, I didn't go into debt for Christmas. So the money was there. So why the money's there? You don't have to use a credit card.
That's awesome.
What else is coming up? I think that's it. Yeah. So
I'm so proud of you. Thank you for sharing that because, it's one thing for me to say it. It's another thing to hear it from someone who's actually gone through the process. And so thank you for that, Tanae. Anyone else have any questions?
I guess I had more feedback to what Tanae said. It's about having an accountability coach and listening in. And I can just share my story real quick. As we were in, my husband came in and he sat and listened and high-fived me as a way to see me being accountable, to say, like, while he leads our home, he sees me taking accountability to learn. And like you said, you had the Facebook and the class. That's a part of accountability because I'm learning. It's with our friends, right? Like you were at your friend's place for that Christmas. For me, living in Atlanta, it's like, let's go to brunch. Okay, brunch could be $100, right?
Yeah.
So having that mindset to say, well, look, I'll go to brunch, but I'm just going to have a pancake and have the fellowship and be mindful because of what we're talking about now and that finance. So that's my little feedback, right?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I really do. Yeah, it's so true. I mean, who we surround ourselves with can positively or negatively impact our growth financially as well. And so that's the beauty of having a community that if you're part of this community, I'll say when you're part of this community, you have people who are learning the same things. You have the same language and common understanding for things. You have folks that you can bounce ideas off of because, they're learning things and teaching me as well. So we're all truly growing together.
Hi, Lisa. This is James.
Hi, James.
I have not turned on my video because it's 1 a.m. here and I'm listening in from my bed in my pajamas. So I don't have a question. I don't have a question. I just wanted to really thank you for your inspiring presentation, and I've really picked up a few things. One thing I really liked is it's not about, you didn't mention spending so much, but you mentioned keeping. And that's really sounding a bell in my head. It's not how much you spend, but how much you really keep. And that's really important. So thank you very much. And I'm really so proud of what you've achieved so far. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. It means the world to me that you joined, and certainly at 1 a.m. Like I said, you win the prize for dialing in from furthest away. So thank you. Anyone else? Question or comments? We got about 5 minutes. I'm here as long as you need me to be, but I don't want to hold you longer than you want to be kept either. All right, if everyone is good, I'm going to ask you to do one last thing for me, and that's to drop a number in the chat, a number between 1 and 5. 1 is this was absolutely awful. 5 is this was awesome. 3 in the middle, it's average, it's okay. Anywhere from 1 to 5. This is a judgment-free zone. You won't hurt my feelings. I ask for feedback because I want to make it better, and I want to be better. So anything that you're willing to share, I would appreciate. If you want to send it to me directly because you don't want everybody else to know that you thought I was awful, that's fine too. Or if you don't want everybody to know how awesome you think I am, that's cool. But I would appreciate it if you would drop just a number, 1 to 5, in the chat before you go. And again, thank you so much for being here this evening. If you want to sign up for Grow Finances, remember it is grow.ascentum.com. I appreciate your time and your support. And if you need anything, I am just an email, a text, or a chat away. Have a good evening, everyone.